There's something I want to talk about here today because in a previous video I kind of mentioned the fact that the resonance system kind of has a cap at level 300. It does have a cap, but there's a hidden feature that still affects the way your team performs in battle. But the big positive of this feature is that we don't just have these stats going to the moon, because as you guys know, one of the biggest issues with any type of mobile game, or really any game in general, is the power creep. Eventually a new system comes, and eventually your numbers are inflated so high it's ridiculous to even try to balance. And this right here is why I really like this system. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump right into it. So for those of you who might not understand what exactly we're talking about because you haven't quite hit Resonance 240, once you hit level 240, which takes even like for free to play just a month, you get this little icon up the top here called Resonance Synergy. Now once you go into this, you can continue to level your heroes up, and as you get those levels higher above level 240, you continue to gain power on your heroes. Every single hero, you notice their individual power will continue to climb. However, once you hit level 300, something changes. Instead of getting stat boosts, you now get this right here, which is called the level up bonus, and you're only getting diamonds instead of actual power. Beyond that, the amount of hero essence you need just keeps climbing further and further to the sky, and that kind of sucks. But this system is good in the fact that compared to games like AFK Arena and other ones that do something very similar with resonance systems, your levels just go to the moon. And what that means is your stats also continue to go to the moon and become very hard to balance around. But something does actually happen past level 300. When you come into a hero, if you want to see exactly what their stats are, you come down to this corner here where you see their level. With that level, there is their power and the information icon. When you hit that, it's going to show you all their stats. So if you ever wondered exactly how much HP or attack a certain hero has, and compared to maybe one of your tanks or something like that, this is where you're going to see this. And of course, gear and such is where you're going to be getting all these extra bonuses. We have tons of crit, no crit damage boost though. Feels kind of bad, and it's kind of weird because this is one of the first games I've played in a very long time where you don't have gear on an individual hero to customize their stats. Instead, you get class gear that kind of just boosts everybody. And it's not even like you can manipulate it. It's just, it is what it is. It gives the stats it gives, and that's that. Which is cool. There's a cap to it. Of course, we're going to have seasonal gear as well. That's another topic individually. But of course, we have these hero stats. There's one stat on here that is extremely important, and that references to what we're doing. Proficiency. So any of these stats you can actually click on, and proficiency is one that continues to go up with your hero synergy. When this character's proficiency is lower than an enemy, the effects of some of the character skills will be weakened. So if you're trying to attack enemies who are at a higher level, your proficiency is going to matter because that's going to lower the amount of damage you're doing against them. If you ever wonder why a lot of times you're going up against the enemy and you can't beat it, but then like you level a hero up 10 levels and then all of a sudden you're absolutely destroying that enemy, like it literally goes from I can't beat this level to that was a joke. That happens quite often when you're going through places like AFK stages. It's your proficiency that's coming into play even more so than your raw stats. Now, as you level up your heroes, you do get tons of basic stats, offensive stats, you get your gear upgraded, all these different things. But the biggest one that's going to come into play is proficiency. Now, the one little side benefit here is, at least when it comes to arena, it's not that bad because as you guys can see, you only get 10% of your excess levels counted towards you. Everybody is set to a base level 151. But again, this is going to affect, I imagine, your proficiency. There's nowhere I can actually see it, but the fact that we do have a higher level does most likely mean we have a higher proficiency than people that were hitting at lower numbers. So in PvP, it probably also matters, but let's be honest, PvP is so whale heavy. If you're not going absolutely crazy, you're probably not breaking the top 10 or the top 5. Now, the majority of the player base that even started on day one is completely through all of the AFK battles. Of course, we will get more with the season Song of Strife coming up soon. There are a couple other things that do matter in like certain areas like Legend Trial, but again, Legend Trial is probably one even free-to-play players are starting to get to the top floor on. I think the biggest place that you're gonna really feel influenced by this is this game mode right here, because it actually tells you what their levels are, and as their levels go up, it gets more difficult, and sometimes their levels are much higher. It's kind of weird how like the levels are on here. If you notice, they're kind of all over the place. They're not static at all. They really range. But the fact that like you get stuck on this stage because it's level 415, and then I'll probably go through and beat a couple stages very easily. But this right here is what their levels are, and that is where the proficiency stat is going to be playing the most impact. Now, actually, I don't know. Have they fixed the records yet? I don't know if they actually have. It looks like they might have. But one thing I love that you can actually see is the level of what people are using. You'll notice Odie, very, very important to run in a lot of these game modes. And I'm going to be highlighting exactly why, because Odie carries when it comes to this game mode, and it's going to be important to have an Odie as strong as possible because, well, he's going to have the proficiency stat as well, and that is also going to affect the way he plays. His executability is just so good, and you'll notice he's only got a 378 versus the 380, so there's a bunch of things that come into play here that kind of affect what your proficiency level is. We can show you right here as well. We jump down to lower tiers of heroes and it drops even further. So for every tier you go, Supreme, you'll notice here at Supreme, you get a proficiency of 378. You drop down to Mythic Plus, it goes down to 376. And then I imagine if you go down to just regular Mythic, is going to drop another, ooh, that one's a little bit more of a drop off. So just remember, the proficiency is dependent on a few different things, not just your actual overall resonant synergy, but also the quality of your hero. Now, the only thing we'll have to see what affects proficiency is I have noticed in a lot of the trailers we've seen for the brand new season, there's of course season levels. Now, season levels might even increase that even more and have a bigger gap. We'll have to see how that plays out. There might be a special secondary stat that we see. Maybe we'll have another category of stats as well, that instead of just offensive, defense, all that stuff, we might have seasonal stats. That would be interesting to see if that was something that happened, because right now we don't really know where it goes from here. So let me know what you guys think about the proficiency stat. I personally absolutely love it. Instead of just infinitely scaling stats, that becomes an issue when you add like a new power system that has multiplicative stuff in it. We'll have to see how it turns out in the future, but for now I'm okay with it. It still gives you a little bit of an edge, but it's not as detrimental as raw stats a lot of times. Let me know. Also, let me know what you guys think about today's videos. I've kind of switched up the way I've been doing some editing. I've taken out the intro. I'm putting a little background music in here too. So let me know if it's something you guys are enjoying. If not, let me know if something's distracting. I'm trying to just up the quality on our AFK videos as we get more time, and that's the biggest thing. I don't know who here is a dad, father too. Takes a lot of time to take care of these ones, so hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'm having fun with the game. Can't wait for the season to come on Thursday. We might have a live stream. We'll see, and I'll see you guys next time.